Well, Miss Vanessa, we are live. How are you?
I am so good. I am enjoying the windy, hot weather in West Texas.
Considering what the poor East Coast is going through, bless their hearts, that's a blizzard. My goodness, that's a blizzard. Well, welcome everyone, whether you are here live or watch the recording. Thank you for joining us. We know time is precious, and so we are so pleased you're here. I'm doing something a little different today. This is going to be a webinar on unlocking LinkedIn, obviously, but really want it to be powerful and on point. Vanessa and I have talked several times about what people can do with LinkedIn. And so she had asked me if I'd do this webinar, and I said, absolutely. And there's so much to share and so much information. I really want it to be, as I said, on target and on point for you. So many people wonder, there's some people who wonder, how many slides are there? How long is it going to be, et cetera? There's 12 slides that tells you anything, but I'm literally going to walk you through some key points, 5 things to do to help you. So Vanessa and I are a perfect example of what's possible on LinkedIn. She and I met at an event, American First Policy Institute event, connected immediately. And Vanessa, I'm going to let you tell the rest of the story of how we got connected, what we've done since then.
You are so right, and I love just how we've continued to build that 4 years ago. Am I echoing, Debbie?
A teeny bit, it just started
Okay.
there.
Weird. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you before.
Okay.
You're good. You're good.
Okay. So I do believe in first impressions, and I remember I was a little nervous coming to this conference because I was on the spot. I wanted to soak in everything and meet everyone. But Debbie really did stand out to me with her with her red glasses and her personality and her energy. And I just thought to myself, like, this is a woman that I can relate to and that I'm comfortable reaching out to, and I'd like to know her better. And it was really as simple as that. And so my key message today is don't ever undervalue the connections and the people that God has placed into your life for, I believe, a big reason. I mean, Debbie came into my life definitely for a reason. And we've just hit it off. We've continued to talk to one another, whether it's been about agriculture or politics or being a mother or Texas, because we share that in common too. We've just had a lot of fun in our friendship. And I saw what she was doing on LinkedIn, and one of the things that I'm always cognizant about is, what is my network needing within Ag Women Connect? And one of those things was building a professional profile on LinkedIn. And so, of course, I asked Debbie to come in and talk at our Ag Women Connects conference, the red, white, and blue one that we had in Lubbock, Texas. And I not only want to brag on Debbie, but also Mandy Tapp and Krista Paffrath, which are a part of my team and network. They had so much fun with you, Debbie.
Likewise.
And we did something really cool. We did a breakout room with all 3 of them, and all 3 were very knowledgeable with how to present yourself online. And so just taking feedback from that conference, that session was a big hit. And I know with harvest season, not everybody was able to physically be there at the Ag Women Connect conference. And so we put our minds together just a couple of months later and said, you know what? Why don't we bring this live to LinkedIn and to our audience and provide this value for our network?
Thank you. Thank you. Well, and like I said, I'm going to go through point by point. I'm a former principal, educator at heart. So much what I'm going to do is kind of teach you, if you will. But there'll be things you can take with you after this. And so, Mandy, I'm going to go ahead and put up the PowerPoint, because we are going to add that to the stage here. And unlocking LinkedIn, as I told you, that's where I want you to know what every professional needs to know. Okay. Every professional needs to know. Now, as we said with Ag Women Connect, I can't recommend them enough. So many women I know right now are thinking of what can I do to live a real lifestyle, and or I want to just do more things even at home, in-home gardening, different things like that. Ag Women Connect is truly who you should be looking at, because no one is going to provide you that support and growth than these women. They are incredible, and I can't say that enough. So let me go and say today, I have one question for you. How many of you have a LinkedIn profile, but you're not getting the business opportunities you want? Okay. I would bet a lot that's why you're here, right? So here's the thing with LinkedIn. There's one reason that people are on LinkedIn on your page. They want to know why you. Now, if clients aren't choosing you, if they're choosing someone else, if speaking invitations are going to others, career opportunities, it's not helping you professionally for whatever it is that you want, then it's not positioned correctly. And I do want to tell you that I'm going to, after this, because I've got a lot of slides and a lot of information, it's a little bit different. I'll answer every question you have afterwards. I can't do that during, because if I do, I won't get through with all the information I have for you, and I really want to be beneficial. So your LinkedIn doesn't answer why you. I'll give you an example. We have a great number of people who have signed up to come today. So I printed off all those pages, right? Just the long sheet page to look at. Great pictures, beautiful names, but not everyone. Most actually, if I just looked at your headline, I wouldn't know why you. Over the past decade, I have helped professionals literally all over the world transform their LinkedIn profile into opportunity platforms. I've seen firsthand how shifting and positioning can totally change everything. Think about it. When I started doing LinkedIn, first of all, I didn't have a clue what I was doing, spent 2.5 years learning everything. But then when I did start doing it, and I did it like an educator would do it, totally different at the time, I understood, and still to this day, understand how LinkedIn really works. It used to be a resume platform. That's how it's really changed. Like all social, LinkedIn's organic. It has evolved based on us, the users. Today, LinkedIn is truly a positioning platform. The question is, what do you want people who visit your profile to know about you? That's why they're there. They're trying to discover why you. If someone's looking at my profile, they immediately know I'm not someone who can sell real estate for them if they're looking for a real estate agent, okay? Are you the person they trust? Are you the person they will hire? Are you the person that they will invite to speak? Will they refer you? Will they promote you? Do they think of you with trust? So when people visit LinkedIn, they are there for a reason. They're seeking solutions. So I want to talk about how you can use LinkedIn to make sure all those questions are answered. And here's the beauty of LinkedIn. It takes a minute. It does. It takes a minute to totally fill out your profile. But once that's done, everything about you is in there. You can give all the information. And this is something to remember. Truly, LinkedIn gives you the real estate, no pun intended, the real estate to include all the information, but it's up to you to include it. So you want to make sure that you include that information in each of those sections and features. So let's talk about how you can use LinkedIn again to make sure those questions are answered. 5 musts for you. Now, this entire live session here will be recorded and it'll be on my page, and Vanessa will put on hers as well. So you don't have to panic about, are you getting everything, if you will. So just remember, that's an important factor. It'll still be here for you to look at. 5 must. These are 5 musts that define how people see you on LinkedIn. Why you? Now, this is something I really want to stress. And I always tell this when I'm speaking. If you have 5 social media persons, LinkedIn advocates lined up, we're all different. What we bring to the table is different. Doesn't mean one's better than the other. It just means that person may fit with them better. So how I do LinkedIn may not be the way some other people do LinkedIn, but I'm telling you what I've done for me and my clients has worked. So these are 5 things I'm going to go through with you, and I'm going to share specifics. I had several people reach out and give me some questions. Let's ask some things, as Vanessa did as well, on how to make sure that that their LinkedIn can work for them and their business. So LinkedIn is where people decide about you before they ever meet you. These 5 areas are going to determine what they believe and whether they choose you. Now listen to that carefully. These 5 things will determine what they believe and whether they choose you to work with them. 1 is your banner and your photo. Secondly is your headline. 3rd is your about section. 4 is the content, and 5 is the engagement. Someone visits your profile. I like to call this a calling card, whatever. This is going to be above the fold, if you will, on your computer. And it shows you here the banner, the headshot, and the headline. Those 3 things are starred, right? When someone comes in and they're looking at your calling card, right? They're looking for that one thing. How can you help and why should I care? That's what they're looking at your profile for. If they don't know those things, then they're not going to choose you. Your banner is something that is going to give them information. Our brains, this is the old teacher in me, right? I shouldn't say old, the teacher in me. Our brains process images 60,000 times faster than text. So when you have pictures and you have images, that gives an explanation of why you. Your headshot obviously needs to be professional, needs to be easy to see, needs to be current. I had to change mine. When you go into a room, and I always joke about this, and I know we have some men signed up as well, but if you go to an event and you see someone and their picture from their LinkedIn profile is 20 years old, I guarantee you that's going to be the discussion point of people, not anything else but that. Sad or true, it's the case, right? You want your profile picture to be someone that someone recognizes immediately, okay? Now, for me personally, and this is just a personal thing, I have the same picture on every social platform I have. Everything online is the same picture because I don't want people to have to think, oh, is that Debbie or is that not Debbie? That's just my recommendation. That's a different thought for each of you, depending on what you're doing there. But I think consistency is invaluable. So I have the same picture. Now, your headline, if your headline doesn't say what you do, why your solutions, you're not positioned. Headlines have evolved. It used to be, it was all about you, us, right? Your job title, your positions, etc. Today, headlines are strictly about why you and what solutions you offer. I thought it might be helpful to go through and to give some examples of headlines. I can only do so many, right? But I wanted to give a few just to kind of show because, people were asking for that. But this is something to take heart of. Your banner, that's the size you have to have, your headshot, and your headline. And I really, really wanted to stress this headline because see this first line right here? That's what's going to show up every time you comment, every time you reach out to connect with someone, every time there's a search result, etc. That first line, not the other ones, but the first line. So if you hear nothing else in the beginning here, hear that. That first line of your headline is critical. So let me show you with the headline here. You've got the headline, you've got 220 characters. So as I said, when you comment, when you share, when you connect, when you engage, and that's another point that is critical. When you engage, your name and your first line of your headline show up. If I could tell you, I wish I had a number, how many people who I was not connected to, but I've commented on someone else's content, they see my first line of what I do and they click back on my profile. Because what you're wanting them to do is to be curious enough to say, oh, well, she can help me, or oh, he can help me. But they only know that if you've got this here in the beginning. The other thing too to explain is on this one, people are looking for solutions, right? That's why they're there. Why you, if you will. They're asking why you. They're not looking for a title. They don't care that social media advocate. They care what in particular to them can I help them with. What solutions do you offer? What solutions? Now, this first line here is literally maybe a little bit less than 100 characters. And what I'm going to show you next is definitely, these examples are all the 100 headlines. So write down, headlines are crucial, first line is imperative. Okay, so let me give you some headlines to speak to why you. And I literally took people who have signed up, went into their profiles and looked at what they did. Every one of the people who I've got little examples here for, I'm not going to say who, but you'll know who you are if they relate to you. It was all their titles, had nothing to do with solutions. So here are some solutions that can be of value to you individually, okay? It's kind of small for me. Help ranchers and business owners through practical real-world coaching. for coaches out there. Okay. You build something good. Now let's make it great. See, what you're trying to do here is get attention and speak to the soul, the heart, the person that's reading it. You're connecting people, projects, and partners to deliver secure, scalable business results. Preserving Western heritage, leading equine programs, impacting 1.2 million plus attendees at Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo. Now, I want you also to notice here, you see how I have the little spaces? And I've got the space bars here. Think of this like you think of, not that any of us really ever seen telegrams, but our brain needs some stopping points. Okay. We need some stop points. And I'll talk about this a bit more when we go on. But when you're doing this, don't hesitate to put some spaces, some bars. That's what I did in the very beginning when I did LinkedIn, when no one was doing it, because I came from an education background. I know how to teach people to read. I know what we have to do to stay engaged. So when you're doing your headline, think about that. What can you do for spaces, if you will? Helping women in agriculture share their stories, connecting rural voices and strengthening the future of ag, helping brands stand out and be remembered through storytelling, driving healthcare growth through data, digital strategy, and scalable patient access. Now, if this relates to you, then these are some things you can take. But something else you can do is just take a piece of paper, write down on the left side what you do. Just write, individual things, what you do, how you help people, what solutions you offer. On the right side of each of those, pick out keywords that are there, things that are going to stand out, if you will. Then go back and just take all that and play with it and come up with your own headline. As I told you, you've got 220 characters. So that's imperative to be able to, you got a lot of space there, a lot. But remember, the first line is what's going to show up when you engage, when you comment, etc. And you want that first line to speak to someone who you want to help. If you're selling real estate, it's going to be, I don't know why I keep going back to real estate, but it's going to be something too, got more doors, something that speaks to that person looking for it. That's what you want in that first line. Cannot stress that enough. So you've got your headline, you've got your banner, you've got your photo. Now the about section. And this is where a lot of people kind of fall off, if you will. The about section allows people to see the person behind the profile. Now, something I also did in the beginning that people weren't doing at the time. I talk in second person. I do not use I. The reason I don't is because I want the person reading the about section to know I'm talking to them. So I say you a whole bunch. Another thing that I do is I use caps on you most of the time. You or your, I usually cap the Y. I had one time a guy very successful, text me and say, what the hell, forgive me, with all the caps. And I don't do a lot of caps, but I do some caps. And I said, I got your attention, didn't I? And he says, boom, you did. Good point. I don't use it too much. And I don't worry about, it's funny coming from an educational background. I'm not looking at that punctuation part of it. I'm looking at that attention part of it. I try to do things in F pattern, which means, you go across and you got some space between it. Spacing, icons, emojis, caps. What can you do to capture attention? Because nobody is going to read War and Peace. They don't care. All that information you think is important, you want to tell them, they're not going to read it. Their mind is going to immediately tell them, I don't have time to read this, and they're going to shut down. So here's kind of a little formula, if you will, for what you can do for your about section. You want to hook. Every teacher in the world will tell you that's the number one thing they do when they're creating lessons. They want to hook, something to capture attention. I help, whoever you help, achieve so they can. Credibility. With blank, I have helped, who have you helped accomplish certain things. Relatability. Many professionals, pardon me, struggle with, what is it they struggle with? Even though they are what? Next, authority. I help clients. Bullet points are great. People love data. They love bullet points. They love infographics. They love anything that helps their brain consume the information better. That's why infographics are so popular. Finally, call to action. Tell them what you do. Tell them they're there because they want to know more information. Now, this is not how you'd talk to someone at a gathering or whatever, church, networking, whatever. But this is here because on LinkedIn, that's why they're there. If you're in search of someone who does LinkedIn, then let's talk. And I have my email there and I have my cell number there. Now, a lot of people from the very beginning teased me and even some criticized me for having my cell number. If I could tell you how many clients I've gotten because I have a cell number on my LinkedIn profile, you'd understand why I leave it there. I don't answer my phone if I don't know who it is. But if someone wants someone to do something for them and they can reach out and leave a message or text someone, they've done their part. And now it's up to you or me to reach back out. So my cell phone has been a great asset for me. I highly encourage it. Like I said, I don't answer it if I don't know the person, but I sure can call back and I can respond back on text to someone who has reached out to me. So you want the about section to have a clear flow. So when you're doing these things, maybe do 2 or 3 lines of the hook, come down to credibility, a little couple spaces. You've got 2,000 characters here. 2,000. LinkedIn knows how important this is. That's why they give you all the real estate to do it on. So hook, who do you help and what are the results? Credibility, why should people trust you? That's what they're looking for there. Relatability, what problems do they face and what do they want but they're not getting? What do you want that you're not getting? What are your insights? How are you helping someone else achieve that? Authority, specifically do and clearly state your services. I think sometimes women more than men in this case struggle with this more. They don't want to seem too pushy or too much. Tell people what you do. Let them know how you can help them. Because if you're really good at what you do, and I know everyone here is, you have a service, a product, job skills, expertise, something that can help someone else. The only way that you can do that is if you let them know what you do. So this is the place to do that. So these are the 5 must. We've done the banner, we've done the photo, done the headline. Now I've given you a formula, if you will, for the about section. Do not overlook the about section. Now, if you go on your LinkedIn profile and you look, or you, I guess, look at someone else's, you only get about 3 lines there, and then it's going to have a little more and 3 dots, where you have to open it up for more. You want that hook to be such that they want to know, wow, I want to know more. So if you're someone who gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go out and feed cows, and you open up those barn doors and the rest of the day is there for you, start off with something like that. Let them know you live and breathe it. You're not just talking about something you've read in a book, no matter what it is that you do. If you collect data to help healthcare organizations, put something that's going to hook them in to where they want to read more, okay? That they want to read more. So you've got that powerful calling card. Now you need to know content. And once you get this part set up, then you're going to be thinking content. So what kinds of content do I need to have? You want content that's going to show your experiences, your perspective, your leadership, and over time, if you will, it answers that one question, why you? So there are different kinds of content and they serve different purposes. Okay. They don't all serve the same purpose, right? Authority content. What do you know? Depending upon your job, your profession, your business, what is it you know? If you're a coach and you're trying to help someone else with their challenges, make a list of what are those challenges they're struggling with, and then post content that has to do with how you help people with that. And there's kind of the, Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule, if you will. 80% should be something around the content for a purpose, if you will. 20% is just the fun stuff sometimes. And again, that's a professional judgment call, if you will. I like the 80-20. Sometimes I'll post that 20%. I'll post something fun just because it caught my attention, right? Not for any other reason. But again, I think the curiosity does serve people, that they know I'm curious about stuff and I'm always learning. So what is it with your authority content that you can share? 2, trust content, personal stories. If you're in a certain profession, what things, can you share that's going to help build the trust there? Positioning content, that's going to be your thought leadership. Every Tuesday, I do a Tuesday tip, and I do it to help to share things primarily on LinkedIn, but again, 80-20, not totally. That's going to give them insights on how they can do better in some of those things. So that's my attempt to show my thought leadership on a consistent basis. Now, someone's here probably thinking, how often do I have to post, right? That's a personal thing. Some people will tell you 5 days a week, some people tell you 1 day a week. The key is consistently. People who know me know I'm going to have a Tuesday tip. Okay. If they follow me, they know I got a Tuesday tip. I may not do anything else the rest of the week, or I might, but the Tuesday tip is a consistent. So just be consistent with it. Credibility content, show the proof. And that can be in so many different ways. It can be quotes, it can be testimonials. A lot of times people think they have to post the testimonial. There's some cool things that you can create with images of where you can have a image of a testimonial that someone's told you either personally on your website, social, whatever, that you can re-put that. If you don't want to put their name, you don't have to put their first name or whatever, but you can post those testimonials that show proof of the things you have done. Okay. Behind the scenes. People love behind the scenes. They love it. They want to see what's going on behind the scenes, if you will. Those are just everyday posts. If you go in somewhere and you're going to speak, it's fun to see what happens behind the scenes before you hit the stage or before you are going to networking. Ann Small did a great one on this last week. She was going to a networking event, hadn't been in a while, and she posted a cool picture of herself and kind of talked about the hesitancy she had. That's a cool thing because everybody can relate to that. So what can you do behind the scenes, if you will? There's so many people whose names I'm looking at here, and I can see things that they do that's an example of this. Okay. um, Sue Falcone, she hosts speakers. She's a speakers bureau, and she does some fun things in her office and different things, kind of behind the scenes, if you will, before she goes live. Um, think about what you can do behind the scenes. People, if you're an artist, if you're someone who lives a rural lifestyle, people love those kind of things because they want to see what it's like to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go out and feed cattle or feed horses or whatever. If you're living in an area where you have a lot of snow and different things like the poor people on the East Coast, Sue included, and you have to do that kind of lifestyle, let people see the whole picture, not just part of it. Next, expert content. This is the educational stuff that you can share. It's the educational stuff that people can recognize. Hey, she does know, or he does know what he's talking about. Mike Smart's on here, does some amazing things with branding, but also what he's doing with farming and what he's doing with indoor growing of vegetables and what he's done with his kids products to teach children about farming and agriculture is just amazing. So what can you show that's going to show those kinds of things? And finally, perspective content, belief based. What are things that you feel strongly about that you want to share that's going to be show people your area of expertise as well as get them interested, because you're posting so the right people will recognize you. That's why you're posting, right? So you have the calling card, the banner, the photo, the headline, the about section. Got some ideas for content. My favorite part, building the relationships. This is to me what it's all about. This is why I love social. This is why I love LinkedIn. And I favor LinkedIn because LinkedIn, the only business mindset social platform out there, it's the only one. When people are on LinkedIn, they're not thinking of anything. I mean, their mind, even if they don't know it psychologically, their mind is thinking business because that's why people are there. I follow a guy named Ken Proctor. He does a great job with questioning. He does some great videos. I follow him every day. I usually look at his stuff just because I like what he says and I want to be there. Chris Brogan's another one. I followed Chris for years, adore him. He's such an amazing person. He has gotten in, he has a lot of different talents, but something he's been doing for a few months is photography. I love the pictures he shows because he shows the photography, but he also has a message behind it and what it means and the different aspects of that. So who is it that you want to build relationships with? Because LinkedIn lets you do that. Look into, think about this. Look in here. The world is yours. Okay. I couldn't resist that picture. I only wear black and white, as Vanessa says, most of you guys know. And then I have my red glasses. I was in Palm Springs with Margot, dear friend who I adore, and they had this, and I was like, I got to take a picture here for sure. This has got my branding all over it. But this is something. This is critical. Please, please, please write this down. This is so important. And this will help you if you're having hesitancy about something. Write this down and then go back to this. Here's what I want you to write down. You act in digital space the same way you act in physical space. Repeat that. You act in digital space the same way you act in physical space. So there's not a difference, okay? And I'm going to kind of walk you through some of this as I show you this because you want people to know you want them to trust you, and then you want them to remember you. Just like if you meet someone in person at the coffee shop, at church, at the synagogue, wherever, when you meet people, you want to have a connection. If that's, and again, that's my own personal beliefs, if that's what's meant to be. So first, respond to comments. So this is about engagement. The last aspect of those five things is engagement. That's where you can build those relationships. But again, this isn't going to happen overnight, y'all. This takes a little bit of time. It's kind of like you start dating someone. Well, you're not going to marry them the next day. You're going to like take some time to get to know them, right? It's a very traditional response. Huh? Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. So you have to spend some time on it. So respond to comments. When you post and someone comments, you owe them the respect of reaching back out and commenting back to them. So pretend that you're in a gathering and you're meeting some people and you're having a great conversation and they're talking to you. Do you not answer them? Of course you do. Of course you do. You have a conversation. That's the same thing. That's the physical space. The digital space is the same thing. You respond back to people. Not just react, which is the like, the silly little emojis. Those are great, but that's not engaging people. Again, that's something to write down. Reactions are not engagement. Again, some people will tell you differently, but I can promise you those are not engagements. Just think about yourself. If that's all someone ever does, the only time that I have to ask for grace is during birthdays. When you get so many birthday wishes and stuff, you can't respond to all of them. Sometimes I just have to go through and react because I want them to know I saw it. Sometimes I can't do that because there's so many. And I don't say that to brag. I say that because I'm online all the time and I do that to them. So comment, respond, give them the credit and the thanks for them being there. Okay. Two, and this is what I said before, there's such power in engaging on others' comments. You want to identify, make a note of this, write down a list of people, of organizations, of companies, whomever. Who do you want to know you? Who is that? Are they potential clients? Someone you want to sell a product to? Someone you want to hire you? Whatever. Make a list of those people. Then go into their LinkedIn profile and see if they're active on engagement. Some are, some aren't. Those who are, it is a gold mine. So let's say that you identify a company that you'd like to speak for. You'd like to go in and coach or pitch a product or something to a company. They're very active on LinkedIn. You can go in and comment on their information. Now you have to read it. It has to be authentic and be genuine, right? Go in and read it, make a comment, because what happens? Your name, your picture, and your first part of your headline shows up. Those other people who go in there as well will also do the same. If I could tell you the number of people who have reached out to hire me who were not connected to me, but they saw me comment, they saw me there, they came back to my profile and reached out to me for LinkedIn assistance. Okay. That's the kind of power that engaging on other people's content can give you. The other thing you can do there is you also can reach out to people. I did that today, two people. I think Patty Farmer, she had listed three people, women that we should all know. One, Debbie Morizek. I know Debbie well, adore Debbie. I'm already connected to Debbie, know Debbie well. The other two I didn't, but I went out and reached out to them and said, always want to give a message. But I reached out and said, hey, saw the post by Patty, I'd love to connect. So what you can do when you go out there and look to engage on other people's content, the world is truly your oyster, especially when you have identified who it is you want to know you. Now on LinkedIn, they have it on the profile for people. They've got the little bell up there underneath the banner. If you have people who you never want to miss their post, ring the bell and a little pop-up will show you. It can be all the time or just certain things, whatever. Hit it to be all the time so you never miss a notification. And you've got your 10 people you've identified. It helps you stay with your strategy of making sure you comment on their stuff. Lindsey Gunn, dear friend, used to work with him, known him for, goodness, 20 plus years. He posts a really beautiful message every day. And I don't have to have his bell because it's always going to show up. But who can you always never forget, just because we all get busy, right? Whose bell can you ring? That's how I kind of say it to remember. The other one is starting conversations. Oh my goodness, there's so many stories I could tell you on this. If I meet someone in person, like I met Vanessa, and many people here probably, first thing I always say, are you on LinkedIn? If they say yes, which most do, well, here's what most people say. They say, I'm on it, but I don't really use it, or I'm not real good at it. Well, I connect immediately. Right then, standing right there, I connect with them. Okay. Now here's a clue. Once I connect with them, I screenshot their profile so that I can go back and not forget who it was I connected. Because if you're in an event, there's a lot of people you're meeting, you might forget people. Wouldn't have forgotten Vanessa, but you know what I'm saying. So make a screenshot so you can always go back and check those. So connect on LinkedIn with them. If you're watching something on TV or if you hear a speaker who's speaking, always take the time to reach out to connect with those people. Now, here's the clue. When you do that, make sure you send a message with a message that says, "Hey, I just saw you speak at, so I would love to connect." Let them know why you're reaching out. And most people will not, especially if they look at your profile and they see that you're legit, if you will. When they do that, they're gonna accept the connection. So I love documentaries, and this is a fun thing I want to share because I want to show you. There are three men. You probably didn't know this. There are three men who own the helium rights to the moon. Three. I'm connected to one of them and know him. Why? Because I took Chris Brogan's advice, and I don't think there's any gatekeepers in the world. If you've got a social connection, if you've got a technology's afforded us this opportunity. If you're connected with someone, if they're on LinkedIn, there's no gatekeepers. I don't have to go through somebody else. I can reach out to them directly, which I did to this guy. Okay. Other two fun things, and there's so many I could share, but two that are recent. One is I was watching documentary and they were doing this movie in this documentary. They had they had a lot of experts there talking. Well, one was Jill Heinherth, and Jill is an explorer. She's deep water cave dive. Now think about that. Caves, total blackness, deep water. I didn't know there was such a thing. I know they had water in those things. She's dived 8,500 of them. Reached out to her literally within no time. I mean, not even an hour probably. She accepted. We had a conversation. I interviewed her in I think it was in October 2025. How can you get access to people like that? You can't in the real world. You can't, but you can on LinkedIn. Now, Jill was just in Antarctica doing a huge movie thing. She just was nominated as one of the 3 explorers in the world for the Top Explorer of the Year award. I am connected to her, interviewed her because I wasn't fearful. I reached out on LinkedIn, which is very, easy to do, and connected with her. Another one is a gentleman named Joseph Sirkowski. I was watching again a documentary. They were talking about Nikola Tesla, talking about his original warehouse plant of the tower up in New York. I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy's amazing. Reached out on LinkedIn, connected, had a couple conversations with him. I'm going to interview him March 20th. He's the filmmaker and producer of Tower to the People and Invisible Threads, which is truly, and we'll talk about that on the interview that day, is history repeating itself. So you can find people and you can connect with people intentionally, like those I told you to make that list of 10 with. But you also can just have your ears and eyes open all the time. And when you meet people or meet people, you can reach out and connect with them. And you never know where that's going to take you, right? So I ask you, who do you want to know? Who do you want to know? Because when you want to know someone, LinkedIn is a place you can position yourself for, okay? I've given you the 5 must. Shameless plug. I do LinkedIn guides. I do LinkedIn profile redesigns, but that's an expensive investment for people. And so I came up with guides that they're 52 pages, give or take, of people, and they can go through them and, step by step, walk them through themselves if they want to do their own. And I actually encourage people to do that because when they do that, they understand all the steps because it's literally all the way through on LinkedIn, everything to do, sample headlines, sample about sections, everything to ask and what to do. Then they know as they're doing it exactly what to do as far as doing their LinkedIn profile. There's no guessing, if you will. And also, I encourage you to connect with Vanessa because Vanessa also, Ag Women Connect, as I told you before, I met the most amazing people in that organization, women who are truly trying to get back to what is important in life. rural lifestyle. And I know a lot of women who may not live in a rural lifestyle, but that's a goal they have, and or they have a family farm or whatever. There's so many different options to that. But Ag Women Connect is definitely the place to do that. So I encourage you to Vanessa Becker to take advantage of that. So we might have some time for some questions if some people would like to. I have, if you want to look on LinkedIn, Vanessa, I can look here. We have to use StreamYard. LinkedIn requires a third party, so I'm on here, and so I can see a lot of things that people have posted, but I can't see anything on the LinkedIn side. So if you see any questions, you can ask, or people have questions, they can post them, and we will try to answer some of those.
Yeah, there's a chat. Can they chat? No, never mind. That's on my end. So yeah, you can either post I think posting your questions in the comments would be the easiest. And I'm on
Yes.
LinkedIn right now, so I can definitely see that.
Yeah. So if y'all want to do that, and I'll be happy to answer some of those. I was trying to. A few people reached out to me, and Vanessa, as I said before, asking us some different things. I tried to put those things in what I was showing you, but there's so much to share. You can only do so much. But if you just do the calling card at the top with your banner, with your photo, a professional photo, obviously someone they can see and they recognize, and that headline, y'all, that headline is gold. It is gold, because that's why they're there. And then your about section, that gives them more information. 70% of the people looking at a profile, they don't even have to go below an about, because you've already convinced them of who you are and what you do. And then when you engage out there, you really have taught them, showed them what it is that you do and how you can help them and stuff. So if you have specific questions as far as what you do and what you want to do better, then put those in the comments and let me ask you this. Sometimes people want to do it privately, and that's okay too. But if you do want to ask me that publicly, I'd be happy to answer that.
Yeah, I couldn't wait. I was already working on my profile as you were speaking.
Well, Michelle, who I adore, love, I know Michelle well as well. I said, I mentioned that people love bullet points. Should we put them in our about section? Absolutely. Bullets, numbers, etc. LinkedIn is very, how do I say this? LinkedIn has some barriers, if you will, in how you can go in and do stuff like that. You can copy and paste the icons and the little emoji things. You can copy and paste those, but you always want to check an emoji. Like I have stars by my name, right? There's some emojis you put up there that may not show up correctly on your profile for someone else. It does for you, but not for them. So you'd want to check that. But 100% recommend bullet points, any kind of spacing you can do to where it gives the eyes some, what do you say? A break, if you will. White space is a break to the brain. Think about it that way, because they're not going to read War and Peace, no matter how good you think it is, as far as what you do and everything. They're not going to read that. They're just not. So yeah. So good point. That's a good question. Michelle, how much should we be using emojis? Okay. How much? I'm going to put this up here so people can see. How much should we be using emojis in our headline and about sections? What's too many? That's a personal thing too. It's kind of like, remember keywords, they were huge. People use 50 of them. Then they said, don't use any. Now they say use 2 or 3, whatever. I use a couple hashtags sometimes just because it helps me with my filing system. Emojis is kind of the same way. I'm not someone who's going to put too many emojis and things. I have the stars on my name. I don't have anything else in my headline, if you will. But sometimes if it's appropriate, I mean, I do a lot of things. Anyone who knows me knows as Michelle as well, a huge patriot. I do the American flag a lot. I do stars a lot. Something that's kind of different that I do that some people might think is strange because I'm a woman and a businesswoman. I do a huggy face. That's me. If you meet me, I'm probably hugging you unless I can tell immediately that you're not a hugger. That's probably what I'm doing. So I do use emojis, but it'd be more in the commenting probably than it would be in the headline or that part. It'd be more in there. Good question though. Do you see anything else, Vanessa?
I don't think so. I think they're coming to you faster than they're coming to me on LinkedIn.
Okay.
But yeah.
And
Yeah,
again,
because they're showing up.
we will answer these. I'll go back and check all this and answer it, and Vanessa will as well. And I'll put the link to my guides in there, and we'll put Vanessa's link to Ag Women Connect. But I know a lot of women, especially millennial age, that are looking at trying to slow down life a little bit and live more traditionally, if you will, who are interested in a rural lifestyle. And even if they don't have property, what can they do or support something that is in that lifestyle realm? And so highly recommend Bat. Let me read one of these questions. I see some people that post selling their products all the time versus maybe a vacation they had or their family dog photo. Would you recommend mixing it up so people see your character outside of business? This is a big an easy thing for people to get concerned about, if you will. LinkedIn is professional, it's a business mindset. And so some of the real hardcore people might say, oh, don't ever post anything personal. I disagree. 80-20 rule. I think the other day, Ken Proctor, great example. He is very business. He is all about how your leadership style, your questions, etc. He posted a picture of, I think Belgium, but I'm not sure, maybe Austria. Anyway, it was a dessert that he had when he was with his daughter there, but he had a business thing to go with it. And there was a
Yeah.
reason that he did it. But sometimes I do that. I mean, people who know me know I have certain brands I love. And sometimes if I'm at that store shopping or that place or whatever, I may take a picture of that and say something. That's a brand, if you will. So I think it's 80-20, and there's nothing wrong with that 20%. But I would encourage you to try, if you can, to put that back to something that has to do with business, because everything really does. I mean, if you think about it, it could be an experience or whatever.
Yeah. I think that's great advice, Debbie. It doesn't offend me when people put something personal. It just shows that they're human, and if we're speaking of women specifically, like we're moms and we're wives, and we've got to figure out how to be professional and work. But there's a complete other side to what we do, and,
Exactly.
and that out and showing that. I don't. It never bothers me. In fact, I like it.
Agree 100%. Michelle said she just updated her headline based on my advice from the thing. Want to see the before and after? Michelle, please take pictures of them and put them in the comments, because yes, I do want to see them. I think that's great. And the other thing that I think, I'm not sure I did mention it, but anyone on the comments section here, make sure you're all connected with each other, because again, you never know where that can take you. Carrie said that I've seen many advocates post their farm life. So I started. I think most like the split between personal and professional. Absolutely. There's a whole person we are. We're not just one. And again, I think to
Yeah.
Vanessa's point, sometimes women worry about that, but I think people want to see the whole thing
Yeah.
about your whole life, the good, the bad, and the Doug,
And the
Doug, go ahead.
Well, Carrie, you do a great job of doing that. And I also would like to bring up the point too is we're all in different seasons of our lives,
Right.
right? So, if I had younger kids and not, an 8 to 5 job or whatever the reason it is, like I'm going to be posting what, season of life that I'm in and be proud of it.
Absolutely. Well, it's like Mandy. I think Mandy's little girl's like 3 years old, but she still takes care of
Yeah.
her business and her horse and her whole thing. It's all, her husband's a police officer. It's all one package. And I also think that gives people the confidence to say, you don't have to do just one thing. That's a question I get a lot on LinkedIn. I'm trying, Mike Smart's a perfect example. He's got his branding and that aspect of his business, but he's also got the farm buddies and the things he does with that. Just have different experiences for those. So one experience is for this, one experience is for that. You can do that individually, but you do want to have them all on there. I mean, I definitely think you want to have them all on there, because I think that's important. Um, Michelle, small business lending and equipment financing to help businesses consolidate, leverage, and grow, and partnering with professionals who influence. I'll have to look at it because it's not showing up all here. But Sue's right. People want the whole genuine person. They don't want just part of it, because I did a post a few weeks back about should we have makeup on or not, and that was interesting because most women said
Yeah.
you should have makeup. You should. I don't agree with that. I mean, that's just my opinion, but I wish I got up every day. I remember Oprah saying that it takes her 2 hours to look like this. It takes a while to get the makeup and the hair and stuff done. So sometimes you just want to go out and not have to worry about that. And people accept you for that. They believe that. Let's see here. Let's see.
That was a great question.
Yeah, well, yeah. So Joanne was, she had to join late. Can I catch up later and watch the whole thing? Yes, you can. It's all recorded, and it'll stay on mine, and Vanessa will put it on hers as well. Thank you, Jennifer. Great tips and points. Authentic for sure. Well, when she asked me, yes, when Vanessa asked me, and I've not done it this way on LinkedIn before like this, but it is such a powerful tool. It's such an amazing resource, and everyone out there who's doing their business or wanting to get another job or a promotion, this is your way to do it. to maximize LinkedIn. There's no platform that's going to give, because that's, if people meet you and they Google your name, LinkedIn will be in the top 3 searches, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. So make it good, make it where people want to know who you are and how you can help them, because that's what the world's all about, is helping each other. And how can you do business and different things, or get that promotion or whatever. So, but thank you everyone for being here. We'll post it all. And anything you want to say ending, Vanessa?
No, you did a fabulous job. Thank you so much. I know that most of this what was your responsibility to do, and I'll just say, like, I've had so much joy working with Debbie and trying to figure out how we're gonna work together. And she's got such a contagious energy about her, and I hope that we get to do this again. I really think that we will. So
Yeah,
stay tuned
sure.
for that.
I was when I was talking about the connections and how you meet people. Vanessa and I met 4 years ago at America First Policy Institute event and stayed connected and engaged. And she's interviewed me. I've interviewed her. We've done this together, et cetera, et cetera. There's so many things that you can do with collaboration like that. It's incredible what's possible, truly. Margot Tantow and I met like 7 years ago, and she and I have a call every Monday. And she's Vashon Island and off the coast of Washington. I'm in Texas. She's an artist. I'm not. I wish I was. The collaborations you can have are crazy, and you can meet people if they're not in your physical space, but God has brought you to them in digital space. What an amazing opportunity. So don't be hesitant, and don't be shy to go out there and show what you can do and what you can offer and how you can help other people, et cetera, et cetera. So God bless everyone. We thank y'all for being here, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.
This was awesome.